This podcast is brought to you by lilybadcock.com and the Confidence Academy, giving you the confidence to be who you truly are. This is the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lily Badcock and I am a transformational confidence coach, and I'm here with a message for you. The anxiety and overwhelm you've been experiencing is not something to be feared or avoided. It's also not something that gets to define who you are as a person. No matter who you are, no matter what your story is, I know that you get to live a life of fulfillment and joy. It's my absolute pleasure to bring this podcast series to you in collaboration with some phenomenal people from all over the world who have walked the same path as you. Together, we will share our stories, our challenges, and our triumphs, with the intention of helping you to see that it's possible for you too. Anxiety may be something you live with, but it doesn't get to define who you are or how you live your life. So stand by for some powerful conversations, deep realizations, and the occasional F-bomb. So get those headphones in if you're around sensitive ears, and stand by. This is going to be fun. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the Confidence Academy podcast 2021. I hope you all had a restful Christmas and that you're feeling ready and raring to grab the new year by the balls and make it your own. I know we're in weird times right now, but something that has always been true is that you create your own experience based on your perception. The truth is, we've never known what we were going to get year on year, and this year is no different. So this is just a little kick in the nuts to get you going straight off the bat. Choose the vibe you want to roll with. For me, I'm still psyched for the new year. It still feels expansive and exciting to me because I know what feels true in my soul, and I know that I'm being universally guided and supported to bring that to life no matter what the current reality may look like. Okay, so with that being said, it's time to introduce this phenomenal episode. I sat down in late 2020 with the truly incredible founder of a movement called globalcancersolutions.com. And her name is Ewa, and we had what I think might just be one of my most favourite conversations I've ever had on and off the podcast. Now, when I sat down to schedule this week's episode, I had no idea that it was Ewa's episode that was next in line, and it truly couldn't be more perfect to kick this new year off. Now, Ewa is a cancer survivor, among other things, and her story is truly inspiring, but it's her core message that feels so relevant for these times we find ourselves in. I just can't wait for you to hear this, and so I'm going to shut up and let you get stuck in. So put your feet up, grab a drink, and in all honesty, grab a notebook too, because Ewa dropped some serious gold throughout this entire episode that you are going to want to write down. Are you ready? All right, buckle up. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. And I am joined today by the beautiful Ewa, who is the founder of Global Cancer Solutions. And she's joining me all the way from Brussels in Belgium. Ewa, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I was just saying, just before we went live, how excited I am to have this conversation with you. Your story is such a powerful one. And one that I think is gonna touch everybody listening, because even if the exact details aren't the same for everyone who's listening, I think the overall message that you bring is so needed right now. And so without trying to be too cloak and dagger about it, I'm going to get straight into it. Let everybody know who you are and what you do first off.
Thank you so much. So my name is Ewa Andrykiewicz Zmyslona, and I'm originally from Poland. I live now in Brussels, and I am a founder of a movement which is called globalcancersolutions.com, which really is a place where we regain our, we move from refocusing on all lost wars on diseases into regaining our ability to heal and regaining our power back, and taking really responsibility for our health, and releasing once and for all this victimhood mentality that we are so brainwashed with. And so, yes, I am focusing now on helping cancer patients and their family through their journey of healing. But also, I work with doctors and healers
Mm,
to give them my perspective, but also very useful tools that I use myself through my healing journey. And those both group need so much our support and prayers and best wishes. So my heart is wide open to all people who are touched by this difficult situation. And what I'm saying now often is, sometimes cancer is COVID. There are different names, but
mm,
all it's about taking charge of your health and what does it mean, and
mm,
taking charge of your way to go, and your relationship with fear and with
mm,
faith. So
mm.
that's what I'm about at the moment. Yes.
Yeah. And I love that you've said that because, we're going to get into your story in just a second. And I know it's a powerful one. But I think you're right. I think whether we're talking about cancer or COVID or mental health, there
Yeah.
are all kinds of ways that you can experience ill health, whether that's a physical thing or a mental thing. And I completely agree with you. It is about that journey from fear to faith, because, when you're in fear, it doesn't feel good. Number one, it just doesn't feel good. But more than that, I feel like fear can really fuel these things, like, so my background obviously is with anxiety, and in the beginning I wasn't just terrified of it, I hated it. And it was those negative emotions that caused me to then have an entire set of beliefs about what was possible for me, what wasn't possible for me. And we are belief driven creatures. What we believe is the foundation of everything we then go on to experience. So if you believe that you're the victim of whatever your ailment is, whether that's cancer or whether that's fibromyalgia or
So
anxiety or like whatever it is, if you feel like you're the victim of it, and if you feel that you're powerless to it, then you shut off your connection to so many opportunities to heal and to grow. And I think this is a very difficult thing for some people to listen to. I know there are going to be people listening who are facing some very, very serious diagnosis. So before we go any further, let's hear your story. Let's let these people know why you have the authority to be speaking in this way.
yes, with a pleasure, I tell my story, but I'm just feeling right away to clarify one thing. Taking responsibility for your health, it doesn't mean that you are responsible for your sickness, and that's
Right.
so
Yes.
huge because, as I will explain in a moment with my cancer story, the first thing you have in your head is why me,
Mm,
why now,
mm,
uh, and the all propaganda of media and of culture that we live in, it's oh, maybe you smoke cigarettes. No, I did not. I had
mm,
really had this lifestyle. I did nothing wrong.
mm,
So this is one of the things I also address. I wrote a book which is called The Healing Mindset: How Cancer Activated My 8 Superpowers. And this is one of the things that I address, that you are, honey, whatever is happening in your life, you are not the cause of it. You are not, it's not your fault.
mm,
And
mm,
that was something that when I had to face my diagnosis and my journey, for me, it was a little bit like a grace, because I received that beautiful thought that, I am a human, I live on the Earth planet, and on that
mm,
planet, we have different diseases. One of the
mm,
diseases is cancer. There are many other. And as a human, I happen to have that one.
mm.
That's it. So that, I think, whatever is your, challenge, it's important not to waste your energy on that why story, because it's like it's not good direction of your energy.
Yeah.
Yes. So for me, this I still remember what, it was like 2018 April. I came back from work. Everything was good, and in the evening I started to have a really big pain in my belly. And I was aware about the cyst that I had on my ovary, but I was not worried. It was not the first one. We women,
Mm.
I think we are pretty resilient with all the things that happen to our body. So it was not really a first thing that I thought that, oh, there is something serious happening. But the challenge was that the pain was not going away, and it increased so badly that I wanted to take some painkillers in the kitchen, and I couldn't reach because the pain contract my body so much that I was not able to move any longer. So
Mm.
I knew that this is the moment that it's serious, and I need help. And I sit down on the stairs in my house, and I call my husband to call ambulance. And that was really the moment that the pain started to be so big that I was losing conscious. And that was also interesting. I still remember, so see like a light on my right side,
Mm.
and a voice that said, "It will be okay. It will be okay." I was taken to hospital, and 2 hours later, I was operated.
Mm.
And I don't have so much recollection because of the pain. It was not really easy to know what's going on. I just
Mm.
remember some funny stories. Imagine, even in the pain, I remember seeing a doctor in the jacket in the hospital, and I was like, why why he's in the jacket, I said, maybe it's a dream, maybe I have just a nightmare and I wake up. And
Mhm.
and he tell me, no, you are not dreaming. I was dreaming, and they wake up me to to come operate you. I said, okay. so after operation, it was really interesting because it was my first operation ever. I have two kids, but fortunately, I was able to give the birth naturally. And what was really amazing is that when I woke up, the first thing, it was really still a night, and there in hospital there is this place of where they put you in the room, which is called like wake up room. So you are still hung up to many devices with a lot of other people. Maybe not now, but yeah, it used to be like that. And I saw, so the really room was empty, and the only thing I saw was a small boy with his father. And my first thought was, oh my God, I was so grateful that it was me and not my children. I
Mm.
still remember, like, that was my thought. And then I was taken to the room, and then I was like having this celebration mode, like, wow, I'm alive. you know and wanted to really celebrate life, and was looking
Mm.
for beauty, to the point that when my sister, she's a doctor in Switzerland, and I don't know how she made it through the night, but when I was in my room, she came, and my husband came, and I asked them to like go for the flowers and balloon to decorate the room because I was like, I want to celebrate.
Oh.
And what I thought was the like end, it was really the beginning.
Mm.
Because, and this is another thing, I didn't know back then, but my body loved me so much that actually what happened is that the cyst on my ovary, I don't, I just say it without using the medical language, but it was
Mm.
like so big that it killed the ovary, and they had to cut it off.
Mm.
And when they do the tests, I did not had any cancer cell in the cyst, but there was cancer cells in the ovary. And
Mm.
as we know, so my diagnosis was ovarian cancer, which is very hard to diagnose. So imagine if they wouldn't cut the ovary, they wouldn't know that I have that cancer. So I was,
Wow.
wow, one thing, it was shocking for me. And to be honest, I didn't know, I didn't have anything to do with medical a lot, with the hospitals. So for me it was like, okay, there's a cancer, I will get through it somehow. I was not so much in fear because I really didn't know what it means, because it was really so shocking. It was not that I
Mm.
had few months and I had scanners, and no, it was just like one day I was at
Mm.
work, the other, I was in hospital.
Mm.
So yes, I find out that, and they said that to me that ovarian cancer is very aggressive, and I had need to have the second operation.
Mm.
I also have family, and in my family there is cancer, so they also wanted me to run a genetic test. And unfortunately, after the second operation, I found out that the cancer spread quite a bit. There was already in my different parts of my body, but also in the lymphatic system. And also they find out the second cancer in my endometrium. So
Mm.
that was, I was like, yeah, what about the slide that said, oh, it will be good, like,
Yeah.
what's going
Wait a
on?
minute. I have a complaint.
Yeah, because I'm a very spiritual person. I'm very open, and I was praying so much, so I was really not prepared, not really like that it's going not in the right direction.
Mm.
Yes, and then I was chemotherapy. I had a chemotherapy because on this kind of cancer you don't do radiation, and
Mm.
of course I opted in because I had like no clue what to do, because
Mm.
I'm someone who meditate for years. I'm really my diet is healthy, exercise, so everything what I think I should do I was already doing.
Mm.
So I was really open to everything. Chemotherapy was extremely difficult, and but my advantage was that I was quite well prepared with, I'm very optimistic person, I'm very
Mm.
creative, but also, I work in computer science and project management, so I had this management point of view to approach to everything, so meaning that I can organize everything, I can have different resources. So I was very active. I had like few doctors, one in Belgium, one in Switzerland, one in Germany, because they all had different approaches. I had many friends who give me a lot of gifts, like healing with sounds, Joe Dispenza meditation. So I really had a lot of different modalities to heal. And I must admit, it was very difficult. The most difficult was pain, and
Mm.
like in the room. But again, I was like, I put like I created for myself a picture with, and I write, I am very powerful. I am powerful, and I put it on the wall.
Mm.
So each time I was like waking up, I would see that picture. And what was also helping me a lot is listening. I was always have audio, because I couldn't read, I couldn't really see anything, but what I could do was listening. So I always had prepared audiobooks and podcast and musics. So even if that was because of course I had a lot of problem with anxiety, with pain, with
Mm.
stress. So I had like a box of different things that I prepare for myself to feel better. And there were many moments that nothing was helping, and the
Mm.
only thing that I went further with that was that I was just saying that will shall pass, that will pass. All we know about life, that it is, it's going further. So this is now, and in the moment will be better.
Mm.
So then it was not over, because in November I had like after it was like a summary of all the operations and treatment I did, and then I had the scans and the blood tests, and I had a meeting with my doctor to. For me, it was like, yeah, like, a project manager. I mean, yes, 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 checkbox done. I have to, healthy, and I go home and
Yeah.
I forget about everything. Uh, and then what I still remember, I was sitting in the waiting room, and I see my doctor approaching me, calling my name, and I was a little bit surprised, because normally it's assistant who approach you, or a nurse. So I was like, but no red lines at the moment. Yes, they were there. And then we sat down in the small room, and he was like going straight to the point that the treatment did not work.
Mm.
Cancer spread to my lungs. It is in many places, and we cannot operate. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I was so he said, okay, we have to explore other options. And I said, okay, they cannot cut my lungs. What are the options?
Mm.
I was really in shock, and I really had to interrupt the meeting and just have a moment for myself. So I just said, okay, let's. I was truly, I did not expect first, remember the light, or we will be
Mm.
okay.
Yeah.
And all the things I did so many things, like everything I could think of, I did. So when I left the office, I was holding in my hands papers, results which were not good. And I was like, what you do, and I will always ask you, what you do. For me, it was medical paper, but people now have bank papers or papers
Mm,
from work. It's real. You have it in your head, what you do.
mm,
And so first I was shocked. I just asked my husband to leave me alone. I needed really the space to be alone. And I asked God, I really pray. And I said, I really had a great life I have.
mm,
And if it's my time to go, I go. I don't understand, but I go. I don't have, a choice. But if I could stay longer, I really would love to stay longer. And then I went to a shop, in the hospital, there's like a gift shop, and I bought myself a pillow with a unicorn. So let's hope for many miracle. And then I was texting a lot of people who I know who have like intuitive messages or they know something. And I was holding my phone. I got a text for a friend that I was not speak with her like for a few months. And she
mm.
chose from all the other days this day to contact me. And she asked me how I am. I told, this is how I am, this is the situation.
Have a
And
seat.
yeah,
Have a seat. I've got a list.
yeah, exactly. So and she said, "Oh, I know someone from United States that she's working with energy healing technique, and are you open to it?" And I said, "Of course, I'm open. I'm open to everything.
Yeah.
Just, I'm open to everything." And what happened later is that I had a few sessions and I was using the technique called image cycling, which of course I
Mm,
can talk about that later,
mm,
explain a little bit. And 1 week later, I was in the same place holding the documents after I went out from the doctor's office. But this time, the document says that I am cancer free and I don't have any cancer cells in my body. UP. And again, I ask always people, what do you think? Do you think it was miracle? I am, I'm so happy. Or are you skeptic or you don't believe? And that's totally okay too. And
mm,
this is one of the things I wanted to help people with. That's why I created that movement and the book to explain people that I, of course, I don't know. My story was very fortunate. I'm cancer free today. I'm
mm.
healthy, happy, having best time with my kids and family, and it's amazing. But I am not a god, I don't know what the end story is for the different people. But what I know for sure that if someone going through a difficult disease is called to be a leader, and
Mm,
this is really a leadership for me, going
mm.
through this kind of disease, because you really really transform everyone around you. No one will be
Yes.
the
Mm,
same around
mm,
after that, and you too. And of course, I don't know if it's time for you to go. We as a human, I believe we choose different pathways to our
mm,
next adventure, and sometimes
mm,
cancer, sometimes it is another disease. But I believe strongly also that globalcancersolutions.com that I created, that website, for me it's like a prayer, because I
mm,
said, come on, it's 21st century, 2020. It's time to really erase this disease, which is very difficult because yeah, the treatment is very difficult. And to be honest, I was also very surprised that we don't have the solution yet. Because
mm,
in IT, I mean, you don't have to have a background in computer science. All you need is your phone. You know
mm,
that every 2 years is a new phone, whatever
mm.
brand you use. You have a
Yep.
new. And imagine you go into hospital with the most important device, like your body, and
Mm,
you have a proposition to the treatment that was 70 years old or more. I mean,
yeah.
chemotherapy, radiation is really old therapies. It's, I mean, I don't
Mm,
know when exactly they started, and or cutting out your organs as much as they can, with
right. Yeah.
keeping you alive. I mean, like what?
Mm,
So I believe it's really time for us to activate our powers. I really believe that we are very resourceful. And if we start believing that the solution is possible, we will do it. We will find in a few short years the solution to that disease.
I just think you're amazing. And the thing you said, or there's loads that you've said that I could pick up on, but the thing that I really got from what you said was, in the moment that you were told you've got this cancer, the treatment hasn't worked, it's spread, it's worse. I mean, when cancer goes to your lungs, that's not good, right? That's not what you want. Okay. And the thing I think is so powerful about your story, and I imagine that you know the power of this. I don't know, but I imagine you already know. But your first reaction was to have a conversation with God or some higher power. And for everyone listening, it might not be God for you. It could be the universe, your higher self, your angels, something called Bob, like whatever name you give it. But your first instinct was to have that conversation. Number one. And number two, and this is what I believe is crucial, you surrendered it all in that moment. Yeah. You didn't go, oh God, not me. No, I've got this, I've got that. Don't take me, don't let me go. You were like, mate, if it's my time, I guess I'll go. But it would be really, really fun if I could just stay, please. And to use a really weird analogy, I don't know what's going on with my analogies today. They're bizarre, but this is what's come to my head. When my kids are playing in a one of those soft play areas, and I say to them, it's time to go, they're like, no, and they start running around and I have to chase them down. And so by the time I catch them, they're going, it wouldn't matter what they said in that moment, they're having no more time. If my kids said to me, okay, mummy, I know it's time to go, but could I just have 10 more minutes? I'd probably be like, yeah, go on then. Do you know what I mean? What a weird analogy, but I just feel like it was your absolute surrender in that moment. And I know that wouldn't have been easy. And I'm not saying that you just went, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'm cool with that. I'm sure it was so painful and frightening. But at some point you found the strength to throw up your hands and go, if I'm done, I'm done. But I really would love it if that wouldn't be the thing, and I honestly believe that you have been given this gift. I love that you are empowering people with this image of them being a leader, because you're absolutely right. And anyone that listens to this podcast probably knows by now that I lost one of my best friends to cancer back in March. And something I've shared about her journey was, and she went through it for about 6 years. And in that time, she wrote an entire book series, like a series of books for children, because she had a nephew, and it all came about with this conversation of, well, what do we tell William? What do we tell him about the treatment that I've got to have? What do we tell William about why I can't be at his party today? And then eventually it was, what do we tell William about the fact that, Auntie Nikki's not going to be coming out? What can we give him that is going to make it less frightening for him and something he can understand? And so she wrote these books for her nephew, but then she published them. So now these books are available for anybody around the world. They're on Amazon. In fact, I'll give you a link, because it would probably be an amazing resource for you to share with the people that you work with, because you have to have these conversations. And, and I know that she wrote it for her nephew, and I know that they're for children, but do you know what? I read those books and they're so simple, but so beautiful. And it was just these little messages that we could hang on to. And I so agree with what you said about, her journey changed everyone around her. No one is going to be the same because of what she went through. And I've also talked about how, and I don't know if I have talked about it much on this podcast, but I've definitely spoken about it on other platforms, about, first of all, the amazing spiritual conversations that I got to have with her through her journey. And, I watched her surrender every single time the news wasn't good. Every single time she kind of batted one problem out the way and another one came up. And I watched her strength and her resilience. And I know everyone around her did as well. And in the end, we were having conversations like, a bit like you said, you know, you don't know what you're asking for when you ask to stay, and we don't know what we're asking for when we ask our loved ones to stay, because perhaps that's not their path. And this is the work I do now. It's, you know, it's giving people that perception and that new perspective that this life we're in isn't the only part. It's not all that there is, you know. It's a season. It's just something that we do for a moment, and then we go on to something bigger. And we had so many conversations around that. And the day she died, I absolutely felt some kind of activation. I felt the loss of her human, and I felt the deeper connection with her soul and her spirit. And she is absolutely a guide for me now. I feel her here, and the fact it's led me to you is just blowing my mind. And her name was Nikki, but I called her Nunu. We all called her Nunu.
How you call her?
Her name was Nichola, but her nickname was Nunu. Nikki Nunu. And I so agree with what you said. You know, we're all changed because of her. You know, our paths look different because of her. Our ability to cope with things is better because of her. Like, so much strength I have now is because of her. And what you're doing for these people is, it's so much more than, this is what I love about your work. It's so much more than you know, you're not going, read my book and you'll get over cancer. You're not, you're empowering people, and you're going, right, this is your path. You know, I talk a lot about the fact that we get given our missions, and we have channels of learning. And for some people it's money, for some people it's relationships, and for some people it's health, right? And for some people they might get challenged in all of those areas. But for sure, you know, for most people, I think for everyone, you can highlight one of those areas was the area that is challenging you the most in your life. And whether you realize now or not that it's where all of your lessons lie, you know, maybe this is the podcast that's gonna let you know, you're not, you didn't get cancer because you were a bad person. You're not struggling with money because you're a terrible human being. You know, you didn't get into that toxic relationship because you deserved it. It's a path of learning. And I also believe that whilst we have this path of learning, and yes, life is not linear, it's not supposed to be easy all the time, we get our challenges, I also truly believe that you can ask for an easier path in any moment that you feel that you can't do it anymore. If you feel like you can't cope, or if you feel like it's too hard and you're really not managing, give it up. It's giving it up. It's saying, allow my path to be easier. It doesn't mean that your cancer will be taken away, or maybe it will. But what it means is maybe you'll just find the strength you didn't have the day before, you know? And it comes back to that idea of giving up the control, giving up the power to actually receive the true power.
Yeah, this is huge, you know, this giving up control. It was also huge for me because I just had that belief that, you know, I'm able to control a lot of things, you know, especially in IT and management. Of course you are able to control, and life brought me adventure to show me no.
Yeah.
I really want to emphasize also for everybody who's listening this important thing that what happened when you got sick or bankrupt, or you know, whatever is happening, often you are losing your identity. So for, you know, one day I was this, you know, boss, I was this and this, I have all these labels, and the other day I was cancer patient. And you know, I had to, you know, people don't understand, my friends, you know, who were not going through that journey, they did not understand that. Oh, what are you talking about? But it is it, you know, because people perceive you to totally different, they have different part of glasses when they look at you. So I think it's really important to understand that you are not cancer patients, you are a leader, and it's so important to look for things that empowers you. One of the superpowers that I share in my book is I define my own story, meaning that it's up to me how I, tell my story. Do I tell it from the perspective of a victimhood and like terrible and like, you know, uh, because I could do that. I totally could do that. Or
Mm.
do I choose to create a empowering story that will empower me? Because one of the things is that when you are in fear and especially in pain, you are very aware about all the what takes you energy and what gives you energy, and that was
Mm.
so important for me. I had to let go everything what was taking away from me the energy,
Mm.
and that was also the next part that is challenging in the healing journey, which is loss. I lost friends, I lost
Mm.
different work project that I used to love. I really had a lot of things to let go, to lost,
Mm.
and I had to find a meaning with that, define that for myself, and be that is okay. And what also happened, and this is another superpowers that I'm describing in my book, is that I create my support team.
Mm.
This concept is simple, but it's so amazing because not everyone will be able to carry that journey with you. It's
Right. Mm.
and I understand. I send them love, my blessing, and I understand this is really difficult situation when especially with operation and cancer, when you lose your hair and you don't look good, and yeah, and you're laying for months in hospital bed, or in the bed. It's not easy to be with someone like that. So for me it was totally okay if let go people, because I invited so many more people who were able to be with me, who grew this muscle to be with me. And often, one example was, so each time I had a chemotherapy, I was calling that a hemio date.
Mm.
People, whoever could, was able to come with me, and I was designing that, event. So I always had a red dress, comfortable, because it was, still laying in the hospital bed. uh, but the rule was that if you were my date, you should come with a present, and you should like have a program to entertain me, because and it was so helpful, because instead of focusing on what was really going on, I was,
Mm.
what you brought me, like what is the present, and and also all these dialogues that you have with someone who is in hospital bed is so powerful, because you are not talking about the weather, you don't complain, believe me, you have no
Mm.
problems. If you have
Right.
you can volunteer in you close to you the hospital. This is also amazing. I met so many amazing people through voluntary work, which I
Mm.
was not aware. In my hospital, you could volunteer even for a few hours. So I saw people who were leaving the work, like they were working half day and half day they were coming to hospital. And sometimes it was just reading a book. Sometimes it was bringing water to someone. So it's the small things. You are not a nurse or a doctor. It's someone just to be with people,
Mm.
and that's really transform deeply people, because you actually, if you are confused or if you are stuck, if you are able to do something like that, believe me, you will know straight away what is the most important thing in your life. There you will
Mm.
out, what is important for you, what is really important.
What if your biggest struggle was actually your greatest gift? And what if everything you think is holding you back was actually propelling you towards the life you desire and were always destined to live? When I lost my voice as a professional singer, it definitely did not feel like a gift in any way. In fact, when I lost my voice, I lost my confidence, my faith, and my entire identity along with it. But what lay on the other side of that struggle was more clarity and fulfillment than I even knew I could hope for. And I want the same for you. I want to help you shift your perception around your biggest struggles so that you too can step up and claim that life you've been dreaming about. Evolution Online is my monthly membership program where I share everything I've learned along my own journey, from anxious and stressed to confident and purposeful. I'm not saying you'll never be anxious again, but I am saying that this isn't who you are, and there is so much more available to you. Click the link in the show notes and join me today. I can't wait to watch you soar. I love that, and I love that you turn them into dates, and I really love that you affirmed how important it is to get that support system, because obviously, as someone for whom I was that support for my friend, and there was a whole team of us. I remember having a telephone conversation with her, like after we'd received some of the news. I can't remember at what point along the journey it was, but at some point it had not been good news. And I just rang her up and I was like, I just want you to know that when you feel like you can't talk to anyone, you can talk to me. Because I knew I could be that person for her. I knew that, I knew I could listen and not fall apart, even if I fell apart as soon as I put the phone down. And I just really felt that was my job, and what I loved about our situation is we have a close-knit group of friends that I've known for years, and she was part of that. And then she became the center of that, like the beating heart. And we all grew around her. And, she actually had an extensive support network, which is just a testament to the amazing person that she was and the amazing soul that she is. But I remember a very profound moment right towards the end. And it was right before we went into lockdown as well, because of course, we lost her at the end of March and we were already in lockdown. So we actually didn't get to spend the last couple of weeks with her. But up until that point, we'd been with her every Tuesday, like at least one of us would be with her. And sometimes it was all of us and sometimes it was some of us. And obviously, if we got sick, we couldn't go. So there were obviously different reasons at times where we couldn't be there. But there was a very profound moment when she and her husband, James, arranged for this big day at the pub. And all of her friends came from all over the place. And she'd worked in Abu Dhabi and Brunei. She was a school teacher. So there were loads of different kinds of people there. And she was sat in her seat. And then our little group were just around her. And it wasn't suffocating. We weren't overprotective. There was no, like, people didn't have to come through us to get to her. But I just noticed at one point there was this wall of support around her. And we all just had her back. And, we were laughing and joking and chatting and eating cake and eating chips and looking after the kids that were there and everything. But we all had our eye on her. And the minute she looked tired, we would give a look to her husband and be like, she needs to go now. And, or if someone had been with her too long, we were able just to go and sit with her, because then they naturally would move away. And I just thought how powerful it was that she had that support network, and that we were able to give her as much as she had given us over the years and continued to give us all the way through.
Wow, it's really amazing. For me, two things are coming. First of all, when someone is listening to that and is playing this tape in his or her head, I am lonely. I don't have that. I don't have friends. And I know that many of people are like that right now. So that number one lessons that I had to learn, me, this independent woman, asking for help.
Right.
Because I had some people who just came, like my family, they just came. But I noticed that there are a lot of people, like, with this asking for date, hemio date, not everyone say yes. And I could totally, appreciate that, because I prefer that someone says no.
Yes.
And I don't then say to them, oh, don't cry, it's me on the bed,
Yeah.
if you can not do it, it's totally fine. But it's just this asking for help. And especially now, because in many places on that globe we cannot see people, especially when you go through chemotherapy or some kind of treatment, that your immune system is really suppressed. Here I call, there are so many amazing groups online. There are on Facebook. You can also go through on my page, and I also create, a group for support. There are really a lot, and it's important to reach out to people. So, I just read today on one of the groups that I belong, a woman who was just telling her truth, that she is feeling terrible today, and she's just putting a smile for her kids, but she's terrible. And sometimes you need a place for that. So for me, it's just important. Hey, it is one of your powers.
Mm.
Ask for help, to search, the support group. You have to create it. You can create it, even if there is no one around you right now. There are really a lot of organization, and sometimes you would be surprised, like I was, for example, with my neighbors.
Mm.
We were not so close, but because it was really shocking when the ambulance came during the night.
Mm.
They woke up everybody. It was not a secret. People really rise up to the occasion. Then they were helping with kids, they were helping with meals. So, I mean, just please feel invited to be a leader, a leader
Mm.
who is creating a support group. And you don't know how you will touch those people that you invite in this group. And sometimes it's just one simple thing. You don't have to, like you said, you have like maybe one or two people that you can say everything. But there is also some people who are just ready to, yeah, watch your kid for an hour, or
Mm.
prepare a meal, or just buy something for you. There are different people for different things, and you will know exactly who can you ask. You will feel that. So be this leader. For me, it's also important to empower people, because it is so easy to be in this victimhood mindset and
Mm.
have. And sometimes you need to do that. If you need to have a pity party, do it. Two tools that I was using often was self-compassion and self-love. So whatever rise up in me, I had really I developed this very kind language towards myself. I was speaking to myself like I was a small girl, and I
Mm.
was always telling me, I don't understand why you are so angry, or if you are angry, you can be angry. I love you anyway, but as honest, I was also prepared because I'm in coaching since 12 years. So I was
Mm.
using EFT. I was using, I think this is really very helpful to use your body to release stress or to
Mm.
press points. Or yeah, this is something that I really recommend sometimes, because when you are stressed, you don't know what to do, and there are like few things that you can press, or just take a deep breath. And sometimes, yeah, nothing works. That's okay too. It will
Mm.
pass. And the second thing I really wanted to emphasize after listening to your beautiful testimonial of the support group, I think this is the future of a healthcare system. This
Mm.
is really the future of healthcare system, and I'm really serious about that. I think we should have this cycle of support where we invite different experts, and sometimes because I feel, for me it is crazy, this kind of um, naming thing, like this is alternative medicine and this is not alternative medicine. You know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't know if I can say that, but
Yeah, you dropped the F bombs.
what I want is to be healthy and to have results, and I don't care about what you think. I had so many different funnest moments. Like, for example, I was doing also acupuncture, and in Belgium, when I was doing acupuncture and I have prescription from my doctor, I could have money from insurance. So of course I wanted, because everything is expensive, so you want to have some support. And I asked my oncologist, I need the prescription for the acupuncture, and she is looking at me and she's saying, oh, I never yet did it. And I was just looking at her, voila, it will be your first time. Because I just wanted to tell everyone from this perspective of cancer patients. I don't care if you believe in acupuncture. I don't care if you believe in prayers. I don't care. Don't just, if I need it, I need it. If it
Mm.
doesn't harm a patient, we should allow it. I think the holistic approach is the way to go, and believing that when people love someone and invite people in this support group, we all can move mountains, and it doesn't always mean the healing of the physical body, but with certainty I can say it means the healing of the whole group on the level that we cannot really explain it on, with the words that we operate right now. So for me, this is really the direction of going of the healthcare system. And it's fascinating to also see the crisis of 2020 of the healthcare system. For me, it really fascinates me when I see a lot of things that we should do to protect ourselves. And I always said, I wish every time they say that, they would say, take vitamin D, or I wish to receive like to my mailbox information how to support my immune system, or how we care about you, because I think that I understand, that we figure it out, how to make it, for the budget wise, but also for the love wise, and how we decided to merge it all, and to have the healthcare system that is focused on human and well-being, and focus on love. And I'm a big believer that we can do it, and this group of support is the way to go. It's really
Yeah, I agree. I actually think there's been, they're making a lot of measures for COVID. We'll talk about that because that's current right now. There's a lot of measures being put in place, like wear a mask, social distance, don't go out. I think what they've missed, though, is they've taken away the human connection. And I know that we might not all be able to be together in the room. It depends what you believe. I know everyone's got different ideas about that. But, it's that community, that sense of community, that support. And I love that you said, it's about asking for help, because 100% Nunu, my friend, was surrounded by that support because she requested it. I remember the year that I went out to Abu Dhabi to visit her with our friend, and she'd already been diagnosed at that point. And the truth is, when you're not the one going through the cancer, you really don't know. You just don't know. You couldn't know. You could read the books, you could listen to stories or whatever. You just don't know. And we went out to Abu Dhabi, and that was the first time me and my other friend really got a sense of what they'd been dealing with, her and her husband. And they'd done it all on their own up to that point, for a good number of years. And I just remember the moment we were all sat in their lounge, and me and my other friend, Nat, we made a promise there and then, like, we're with you now. We get it. We understand. And we're sorry we didn't call as much. And we're sorry that we didn't know. And, everyone was crying because, she was saying, oh, but you couldn't know. And we were like, oh, but we should. And, yeah, I mean, you can have your pity parties and everyone can talk about how they should be, feeling the most guilty or whatever. At the end of the day, that all went away. And what was left was support. And, Nunu learnt to ask, she would phone up and say, James is working away. James is a deep sea diver. So, he was away. I need someone to come and be with me. And we would rally, because the truth is, all of our own healing lies in our ability to help others. The minute you feel like you're on your own, you feel cut off, and this is so true. My own healing through anxiety and mental health has absolutely come from doing this podcast and things like it. If I didn't do this, I would be stuck with my own problems, my own sense of fear, my own limiting beliefs about what's possible. When you open up a conversation with another human being, we want to help each other, because that's how we're designed. That's the point. We're supposed to come together. Nobody's meant to be on this path on their own. And, it doesn't matter who you are and what you're going through. You have the capacity to help others. Nunu was the first person I rang when I was diagnosed with anxiety, and she remained to be one of the first people I would call if I was having a wobble. And I had to get past that guilt of, oh, but she's got cancer, I can't talk about that. And she would be like, that's bullshit. Your problems matter the same as my problems matter. It's just mine's called cancer and yours is called anxiety. And, we so often get into comparison around, oh, I shouldn't feel bad because my problem isn't as bad as that person's over there, or whatever. Like, have empathy for the world, for sure. but don't let yourself think that your problems don't matter and that you don't get to ask for help, because you get to ask for help. I just think this has just
Yeah.
been so powerful.
Yes, and this is exactly, you know, this point of self-love and self-compassion. They both goes together. So whatever you're going through, have really self-compassion, because yeah, it's for us. Unfortunately, it's for me. You know, I always, because on my computer science background, I am talking about programs. So we have a lot of, you know, guilt programs, and you know, once you press the button, it just goes. You know. So just have the self-compassion. And I was also, for example, using this beautiful Hawaiian prayer, when you say to yourself, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. And that to myself, to my body, you know, like the body that went so this is amazing, you know, to be able to share with you the story and the tools. And it's, as you said, you know, open up. And I also believe that we should not be alone. And even I understand that now not everyone can be with other people, but yeah, we have the miracle of technology, and there is numbers of ways that we can connect. And I also understand that not everyone is privileged enough to be with you or to hear your story. So you have to actually find the right place. But as a leader, and I believe you are a leader, you will find that place. Believe in yourself. You will, you know, connect with your heart. Ask your heart to help you, and you will get the right people to help you, whatever your challenge currently is. You are not
I
alone.
love that. Yeah, I love that. It's so empowering to know that, you know, and I know this is what the message you wanted to get through today was, that we are powerful. You know, every single one of you listening, you are powerful. And it's really strange actually, but I quite often will intuitively channel a message in the morning, and then I'll put it out on Instagram, because these are the times that we live in. And my message this morning was that you are responsible for your own healing. And I love that you shared right at the top that, yes, you're responsible for the healing, but you're not responsible for what's happened to you. It's not your fault that it's happened. You can let go of that. You know, stop trying to find the reason why you've been given this, and instead find the faith that you have what it takes to come through it. And just before we finish, and I know you've got a really generous free gift that you're offering the listeners as well. Just before we get there, I just want to come back to the light that you saw in that moment when you first had that pain, and the light and the voice that told you it was going to be okay. And how so many times after that it looked not okay. And you were like, white light, what gives? Like, you know, who was that then? Like, I need to have a conversation with the management department, because, you know, something's gone horribly wrong. I'm sorry, I was told it would be okay. It's not okay. I want to come back to that, because I truly believe that what is okay is not always what we perceive it to be. You know, okay doesn't mean that you're going to be fine in an instant. Okay doesn't mean that you're not going to walk the path you were always meant to walk. Like, I've used this saying a lot recently, but we are being forged by fire into the people that we're supposed to be. And sometimes that shit is hard. So you get to trust, like, even if it's just, you might not have a white light or a voice, you might just have this sense of knowing, or this sense of, you know, it's going to be this or it's going to be that. And it's trusting that, and knowing that it's not always going to look how you think. And so, yes, you might continue to get the bad news. You might continue to be sent down a path of challenge, and, you know, and where you need to really learn to heal yourself. But, you know, ultimately, I believe ultimately we are okay. And I have a whole story around that, which I won't go into now because it could be another hour long. But it's, you know, that's a mantra that I use a lot. And actually I pose it as a question. I don't say I'm okay. I say, what if I'm always okay? What if? Like, we're so based in fear. We so often go, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Blah, blah, blah. So, okay, use the what if and make it positive instead. What if we're always okay? What if every single thing you're being challenged with and faced with right now is absolutely what you're supposed to go through? And what if you're going to be okay? And to go right out on a limb now, and this is, you know, maybe not going to be well received by everyone listening, but I'm going to take it there because that's where I'm feeling led to go. What if we're always okay? Like, that goes beyond this life. I truly believe that when you're told you're okay, it's because you truly are. And, you know, Eva shared already, at some point your journey on earth is going to come to an end. It doesn't mean you're not okay, though. And to spin it the other way, when we lose people, it doesn't mean they're not okay. And I had absolute clarification and confirmation from Nunu the day she died that she is more than okay. I had so many signs and such a sense of arrival that I don't worry for her anymore. And I spent a lot of years worrying for her, and I don't now. I know that she's wherever she's gone, wherever we get to next, it transcends everything we understand about this experience we're living right now.
I think you mentioned, you touched something very critical right now to our culture. So with this being okay, I learned it's just releasing control of my idea of being okay. And second is facing death. I mean, our culture is just terrifying with the world, because this is something that we cannot control. We all know we have two things that is certain. So we birth and death, you know, this is the rules on that planet. Everyone knows it, but we behave like it's just doesn't, you know, like, oh, I don't see it, like, oh.
Yeah.
Really, I'm laughing now. I know it's, for many people it's not something to laugh, but it's just this idea that it has to be so terrifying. It's not true. It's something that we again were programmed to believe so. And many of us have the same stories like you have, that someone you know, passed away, and we have contact, we feel them, and you know, depending on your belief system it looks different, but often it is so certain. People know that, you know, it's like an angel in heaven, or it is like an energy, whatever you feel, but it is, you feel it, that it's not over. And often it's also true love, and this unexpected feeling of abundance from heaven and love, and this perspective of, yeah, dying is something that is normal on that planet.
Yeah, I so feel that. And that's something I really learned actually through this experience, was we've been taught to fear it. We've been taught that it's bad. We've been taught that it's, you know, and I'm into musicals. I'm a singer, so I love the musical Cats. And I don't know if you've seen that musical, but they have something in the musical called the Heaviside Layer. And when the cats die, they go to the Heaviside Layer, but it's something that is always celebrated. It's like the highest honor. And so, you know, when the cat is chosen to go to this Heaviside Layer, it's like, it's this honorable journey that everyone celebrates. And I really love that. Just to finish, I wanted to share a message that I channeled. It was right around towards the end of you know, just before we lost Nunu, and I channeled this message that I just feel is so perfect for this podcast right now. So I'm just going to read it quick. It's not a very long one, but the message I got was this: life is a journey. Our fear of dying stems from the skewed perception that our life on earth is all there is. Our belief that it's all pointless has been created from the vacuum that exists where once there was knowing. Look around you. Nothing in this life is pointless. Nothing happens for nothing. This is a world of rhyme and reason and of balance in perfection. You are not for nothing. Life is a journey. Reaching its destination is to be celebrated. So when there is pain, remember there is purpose. When there is fear, remember there is love. Let comfort and peace wash over you as you allow your wonderings of maybe there is more to become undeniable truth. Your questions are, in fact, your memories of what you already know to be true. Let hope fill your heart once more, and let your truth be your healing. Exhale, release, and let it all go. We've got you.
Wow, that's so powerful.
It was it was one of the last things I sent her, actually. So, and I know when I sent it, she found it really confronting, but I really hope that she found it comforting at the same time. And I really wrestled with whether to send it, but I felt so strongly that it was needed to be said. And I think I shared it on my socials as well. Eventually, I think it went out. But I just think it makes me emotional to read it, because, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't, you know, I'm an intuitive guide, I channel messages, but I'm still a human, and life is really fucking hard sometimes. So it's when we get these messages, I just think it's a total gift. And I think you're a gift. I think this has been such an incredible conversation. I think your work is vital, and I really feel like, you know, I feel like when you made that contract with God or the universe, the soul, or whoever, when you said, let me stay and I'll make it worth something, like, my God, have they given you a task? It's like, okay, you're going to change the entire healthcare system of the world and the perception of what it means. I think if anyone can do it, you can. I just think, you know, your energy is powerful, and I'm so honored that you came onto this show today. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk very quickly about the gift that you're offering. So Ewa has very kindly given us a link where you can download 2 free chapters of the book that she mentioned. So give us the name of your book again in case people want to get it.
So in order to get the book, you just simply go to globalcancersolutions.com and you can get the 2 free chapters. But if you would like to read the whole story, you can just find it on Amazon, and it's called The Healing Mindset: How Cancer Activated My 8 Superpowers.
Amazing. I love it. I really hope you guys will get it. If you do get the book and you're reading it, I know Ewa would love to know, and I'd love to know as well. So do get in touch. All the normal ways. You've got the Facebook group, Wake Up, Rise Up. You can email me at lilybadcock@gmail.com. And I'm definitely going to be inviting Ewa to come on to the live chat show that I'm planning to launch very, very soon, called Waking Up to Purpose. So we'll look forward to hopefully having you back on then. But in the meantime, if you have questions for Ewa or any feedback at all, we would love to hear from you. So like I said, Facebook group, Wake Up, Rise Up. We'll put all the links in the show notes. And don't forget, you can also give this podcast a subscribe and a like, and you can leave your comments there as well. And I always love to read them. Ewa, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your powerful work. It's been an absolute honor to meet you today and to talk to you. And I just wish you all the love and luck in the world with your mission.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you so much. Love to you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. And to everyone listening, remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. I'll be back again soon with another episode. Sending you all lots of love. Bye-bye. I mean, come on. Was that totally epic or what? I cried twice listening back to that earlier today. I could really feel the amazing energy behind the words that were being spoken. And I am so certain that Ewa was gifted a divine mission in that moment that she saw the light that told her everything was going to be okay. And that is the message I really want you all to take away from this episode, to carry you through 2021. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be more than okay. We don't have to know how or even understand it, and we sure as shit don't need to take what's happening now as a projection of what is to come. Miracles are still happening every single day all around the world, and we are the creators of those miracles, and it starts with our own hopes and dreams. So if you do nothing else, dedicate some time to dreaming those big ass dreams of yours. Know that they're yours by divine right. Know that you have everything you need to make them happen, and let go of any fear or bullshit voice that tells you that you can't do it. You can. My deep gratitude to Ewa for her time and energy on this call. We are all so blessed to have heard your story and to have learned from you. Don't forget, you can grab your 2 free book chapters from Ewa's book, The Healing Mindset: How Cancer Activated My 8 Superpowers. And the links to do that are in the show notes, together with everything else that was mentioned in our episode today, including the beautiful book series written by my beautiful, brave friend Nunu. This episode is dedicated with all of my love to her and her family. Now, just before I sign off for this week, I wanted to let you know that starting on Thursday, the 7th of January, there's going to be a live call-in episode of the podcast every single week. That's right. I've been calling myself the Ellen DeGeneres of podcasting for ages now, and now I'm just making it true. I was like, I want a chat show. So I just created one. So that's going to be happening every Thursday evening at 8 p.m, that's GMT, so UK time. And it's going to feature many of my amazing guests from previous episodes, so you can connect with them further, ask your questions, have a conversation. For more information or to apply to be on the show with me, click the link in the show notes below. Okay, that's all for now, my loves. I'll be back again next week with another incredible guest for you. Until then, take care of yourselves and remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. Big love.